that being said, we are on to our keynote speaker for this evening. All right, so we're talking about connections. So I was already standing when I asked who here has worked at Pivot, because I worked at Pivot too. I did, long time ago. And my resume crossed paths with the Pivot group, and Cradit and Utley said, we should interview her. And then somebody else said, well, are we looking for a salesperson? And they were all like, no. They're like, we should still interview her. And so I'm very grateful. because we're all connected, that has led me to where I am now. And so I'm very grateful to that. And I'm grateful as well that to be connected to Cradit and his better half, Faye, who works with the Burns and Mac people, right? So again, we're all connected, like literally. Some may say kind of incestual, even. It's fine. Yeah. Are we still streaming? Shit. Okay, so without further ado, I do want to introduce Jason, who is my former coworker, but also my friend. Also the guy that will come to a New Kids on the Block concert with me at the rodeo, right? We'll sing Hangin' Tough. See, you see him there in his suit, and he looks like he's, yeah. So Jason is like he said, CIO and CTO of Summit Carbon Solutions. SCS is PODS' first carbon sequestration member. So we're excited to hear from Jason on why they joined PODS. And he's got, actually, his compatriot Ben is here as well, unless Ben's at the bar. And the differences and similarities of renewables and pipeline data. So Jason's going to share a little bit about his history, which is really cool, in pipeline and his vision and plan and strategy for SCS. And maybe give us some teasers about his plenary talk tomorrow at Urgis. So SCS's pipeline will be the largest/longest carbon sequestration pipeline in the world when completed. Like, how cool is that? How rad? All right, so let's give it up for Jason Cradit, our keynote speaker.
Thanks, Monique. I did go to New Kids. I'm incredibly disappointed that had to come up, but it did, and so that's okay. Well, I got to tell you, this is a very weird event for me. It's odd, and I'll tell you a little bit about why that is here in a second. But as Monique said, and I said earlier, I guess, I am the CIO and CTO at Summit Carbon Solutions. And I think it's important, I want to talk about who Summit is, but before we talk about who Summit is, I'll start with who I am and why I'm in the room. My background, I started as a service provider in this industry doing ILI, integrity field services. I have a pig there for ILI. And then also I moved out quickly and I went to aerospace and remote sensing, flying satellites in outer space and aircraft, fixed-wing aircraft to take pictures of the ground. In that organization, I learned a lot about cybersecurity and how to do things at scale, country scale, that I just never thought I would. I did move into consultancy for a little bit, helped pipeline operators solve problems like moving to the cloud or data visualizations with Pete and Luke and others in this room, obviously. And then I did move to Pivot, a software organization where we built applications for the oil and gas industry. And now I'm a pipeline operator at Summit Carbon. In my expertise, I think people in the room who know me would look at me and say, oh, he's a cloud strategy guy or cybersecurity guy or really knows mobile data collection or IoT. What you don't see on that list is GIS. And that is why it feels a little weird for me to be standing in front of all of you professionals today. I think that, one time I did make a red line blue in ARC, and I feel like that qualifies me as so I'm one of you, but no. I appreciate. Thank you. I had planned that for weeks, but but really, I'm not a GIS professional. I'm excited to be a part of this community with all of you, and you've taught me a lot over the years, and will hopefully continue to do so. So enough about me. Let's talk about my company. Summit Carbon, as Monique said, is the world's largest fully integrated carbon capture and sequestration project and company in the world. And we really sit at the intersection of agriculture, energy, and sustainability. And the reason for that is we start everything we do with corn. In the Midwest, we're spread across 5 states in the Midwest. And if you take a bushel of corn and you want to go process it for, I don't know, ethanol or sustainable aviation fuel, a third of it goes to the product of ethanol or sustainable aviation fuel. Another third of it is like corn feed for cattle or your food supply, right? And the final third of it is carbon. And so all the bushel of corn is used in some capacity, right? Either in the fuel or in the corn supply for livestock or in carbon. And a lot of our ethanol partners today or the sustainable aviation fuels would use that carbon and they would give it away or not give it away. They'd have a business that would be used on site to like flash freeze meats or something like, maybe it's in some of the beer you're drinking tonight, those sort of things. They would donate the carbon there. So they've been doing this for a long time, and they said, man, what if we could just get rid of all of the carbon? What if none of it existed, and what would that look like? And that's where we came from. We said, we could do that. So we partnered with 33 carbon or capture facilities across the 5 states. We're building a 2,000-mile transportation line to transport the carbon. And then we'll have 3 Class 6 wells in North Dakota where we will sequester the carbon. That's 18 million tons of carbon we take out of the atmosphere every year. And to me, that's really important. We're the world's largest. We're the only one that's doing all 3 phases. Some are certainly doing just the transportation. Some are doing only the capture. Some are doing only the sequestration. We are the only one at our scale doing all 3. So what's 18 million tons? What's that? Who cares? Well, the reason it matters to me is that is like taking 3.9 million cars off the road every year. It's a really interesting statistics. That's not like moving them to EV, that's like removing them, no emissions. Or it's taking 21 million acres of forestry to eat and consume that much carbon every year. So what if we could plant 21 million acres of trees every year? It's pretty incredible. This is the footprint of our map. We have the 33 plants, ethanol and sustainable aviation fuel. One of our plants in South Dakota, they sell 100% sustainable aviation fuel, and they have fueled airlines to go across the Atlantic fully on nothing but sustainable aviation fuel. Really, really interesting. For me, as I mentioned, I'm not a GIS professional, as you guys are. I'm a technologist. I focus on how do we do things at scale, how do we make things work. And so my vision for Summit is to be cloud native. We're building all of this right now in 2023. We have 0 technology debt. We are starting in the cloud, and that's the only place for us to be. We'll never own a server if it's up to me. And I see servers as somewhat like an appendix, right? It's just something that's going to break at some point, and you're going to have appendicitis. You got to deal with it, and that is not the kind of world I want to live in. Thanks, Pete. You know what? If I can get Pete to laugh, I'm set. I'm set. But because we're cloud native, that also gives us the opportunity to be completely mobile. As one of the presenters had mentioned, right, making sure all the data is available at people's fingertips, where they use it, where they need it. That's in the field, in the office, or wherever. They need it to be mobile, and they need access to it immediately. Because we start in the cloud, we can also deliver it 100%. No matter where they are, they can have the data they need, which all ends in data. We have to have data to make it work. There's no cool mobile visualizations or cloud technology strategy without data, right? And that's what you guys do. Of course, at the end of the day, it has to be secure and resilient to make sure we can continue to use it for years to come and meet all of the compliancy needs that we have to have. So what's different? Different from my company versus maybe some of yours. Certainly we have all the typical pipeline concerns. We have to meet PHMSA requirements for CFR 195, Delane. Thank you. And then we have to do things like our O&M manuals. We have to do HCA and risk, and all of the normal things any pipeline operator would have to do to be compliant and manage their pipeline system. We have some new additional concerns, and that's where some of you come in. Some of the added concerns, because we're doing this in 2023 and because I want us to be cloud native, is we need partners to come with us on that journey. We need software providers that come with us that say, yeah, we can do that in the cloud, sure. We need consultants that are capable and willing to build those things in the cloud with us. That is not an easy task in this industry, and that's across the board. That's in our SCADA systems and ICS. We're 100%, our OT environment is all in the cloud, so our SCADA environment will be in the cloud as well. And so we fight against this complacency of, yeah, but we've always done it this way. And we have this opportunity at Summit to not do it that way. We can choose to be different, and we do choose to be different. We choose to modernize, we choose to do things differently, and we choose to take on those new challenges because we're doing it a little different than it's been done before. But I think one of the primary differences for my business at Summit is that we have to be carbon neutral. See, our business model we don't have this goal of like, by 2030 we want to be carbon neutral, or 2050 we want to be carbon neutral. That's not how it works. Instead, our entire revenue model is connected to the molecule of carbon that goes into the ground. So every time we go do a block and bleed, valve maintenance activity, we have to know the carbon emissions to get there. We have to know, like, when you go put lube in some machine, we have to know how much lube, where did it come from, what's the CI impact, the carbon intensity impact of that lubricant to make it work in the system. Because we have to deduct that. From every ton of carbon we put in the ground, we have to deduct that. That at its root, as Pete mentioned before, is a data problem, and that's why we really are more of a data company. See, we are going to be in the position of transporting carbon, capturing, transporting, and sequestering carbon, but really, for us to make $1 of revenue, we have to know everything about that molecule that we put in the ground. So that requires a ton of systems integration, a ton of data integration, and a whole lot of software development, because it's never been done before at our scale, or if ever. See, operational efficiency is not tied to like some cultural goal or vision statement for the company. It is our company. We have to be operationally resilient and efficient. These two data models you see, or one is a data model, one's not. They're blurred on purpose because this is some intellectual property we've been working on. The one on the right is all the data attributes and entities with the pink required for us to capture and track our carbon through all of our systems. From scope 1 through 3, greenhouse gas emissions, all the way down to, what did our flow meters tell us, move from point A to point B, and we have to attribute that back to the ethanol plant partner themselves. And that the top blue box is all of our systems integration that requires, things like our HR systems, because a lot of this is tied to ESG measures from our investors or otherwise. We have to report on those things when we sell a carbon credit. It's a really incredible problem, and it's going to create a ton of interesting and difficult problems for us to solve. So why join PODS? And I think the interesting thing for me is, I just talked about something like I'm very passionate about being modern, being cloud first, being cloud native, and focusing on the future and not the way things have always been done. And here I am in a room that's been around for 25 years. Feels a little weird. But really, I think, the guy with the pants, I don't know his name, sorry. Todd said at the onset, this, the pants guy. He said a lot in his speech earlier about community. And to me, that is a huge deal about why I'm here today. As I stood up, helping, as part of Pivot or at TRC or Wilbros or MJ Harden before that, I've been around so many of you talented people who have taught me a lot and helped me get to where I am today. And that community is what's interesting to me. And as Monique has pointed out over and over and over again tonight, it's all for free. It's all, love, passion, and tears and sweat just to go make it possible to build something that is what it is. That community is super important to me because we need your thought leadership to help us build this pipeline, to build the carbon sequestration opportunities we have in the future, and help us sell carbon credits. But the second reason I think we joined PODS and we're really excited to be a part of it really is the 25 years. Because one of the things I look back at, and we talk about PODS and the Golden Build and POD 7, is that you didn't just build it and forget it. You kept moving, you kept evolving, you kept enhancing, you kept driving it forward to modernize and keep it fresh and neat and useful. And that is why we joined PODS, and that's my presentation. We're going to sing Hangin' Tough now?
We're rough. Okay. Questions for Jason? No, not no. Questions for Jason? Yo, this is groundbreaking stuff. Okay. First question for Jason from me. Jason, or maybe Ben.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe Ben. Because Jason's going to be like, Ben can do it. Would you guys be interested in developing a working group to build out a model, a model specific to pipeline carbon sequestration?
Does this fall under the volunteer category?
Yes, yes, yes. Yes.
I'm sure we would be open to looking into those.
Ben knows how to speak lawyer. Boy, when you build in a pipeline, you know how to speak lawyer, huh?
Of course, I'd have to have approval from.
Right. From Jason? No. No, but seriously though, I mean, we're really excited to welcome our new members, and we're doing a lot around outside of just, standard oil and gas, right? So you've heard water a few times tonight. You've heard carbon sequestration. Of course, a lot of you, I'm sure, raise your hand if you're a gas company that's doing renewable natural gas. Yep. Kinder. TC, you're doing it too. Raise your hand, Deborah. Yeah. So there's a few companies as well that are doing renewable natural gas as well. And, there's a lot of work that GTI is doing, right? Shannon, raise your hand if you want to talk to GTI, that they're doing around methane reduction and leak analysis as well, right? And they're using the PODS model as well because they're a PODS member to do that. So really, we are really just a great community of people, and we're so excited that companies like Summit Carbon have decided to join PODS and to hang out with us and to help move the ball forward in innovation around data management. Y'all, one year, Michael and I decided, we didn't have a lot of money, and so we were just going to go on each other's work trips for vacation, right? And Michael's company sent him to reInvent in Vegas.
What happens in Vegas? It's supposed to stay there.
And so Michael came to an Inga meeting with me, and I went to Vegas to reInvent. And y'all, Jason did a presentation there. At least 2,000 people in the room. It was absolutely incredible. And he had them all absolutely hypnotized. So, y'all, this is incredible stuff that we're doing. And we're really, really grateful to Jason and Summit Carbon as well, and everybody who spoke tonight. So thank you so much, Graham with BP. Thank you so much, Pete. Thank you, everybody that participated tonight in all of these great discussions. And again, please fill out your survey so that we can know what to talk about further. And thank you again so much to all of our member companies, especially our new ones. And thank you again to all of our sponsors. So Esri being our gold sponsor that literally always gives us money. Thank you so much. New Century, thank you so much for all the money, as well as all of the volunteers. And Kurt, who won the Volunteer of the Year tonight, who works with New Century as well. And thank you to our silver sponsors, CHA, Geodynamic Global, Petro IT, and Whiteley as well. So please go and talk to these organizations, right, that are fueling us, right? We are powered by PODS, right, because these people power us to do all of these things and work hard on all this stuff. So again, thank you so much, Jason, for coming to talk to us tonight.